Good morning, Year 2. It is Thursday today. Now, don't worry, there are no extra Tinga Tinga YouTube videos to watch today. Today, we're actually going to be reading a Tinga Tinga story. So you've come to the right place to start with this video today. And you will see that our starter looks very similar to yesterday, except I've got different words covered up. So just to remind you, we've got these adjectives, long, smart, big and cheeky. And we've been adding some suffixes onto them to change their meaning slightly. We've been using the suffixes to mean more, and we've been using the suffix est or ust to mean most. Some of my words are hiding, and your job is to pause the video and have a go at writing the spellings for the missing words. So let's have a look. Did you remember some of those spelling rules we talked about yesterday? So we've got smarter. That one's a nice straightforward one. We just write smart, S-M-A-R-T, and add the E-R on the end. Smart. Then we've got big, bigger, biggest. This one was a little bit trickier because we've got that special rule. Did you remember that because we've got a vowel followed by one consonant on its own, we have to double that consonant before we add a suffix? So for biggest, it should be B-I-G-G-E-S-T. Well done if you remembered that. And then the really tricky one, we did talk about it yesterday, cheeky, cheekier, cheekiest. Did you remember that we need to change that Y? And there was a clue in cheekiest of what you need to change it to. Did you change it to an I? C-H-E-E-K, that's the cheek part. And then we change the Y to an I and add the E-R. Well done if you got all three of those correct. Now, just to remind you, this week, next week and the following week, we are going to be writing our own Tinga Tinga tale, Why Elephant Has a Trunk, because we are hoping it's going to get published for Tinga Tinga Tales at Puffin Books. So we are writing a traditional African story, and the purpose of our writing is to entertain and make the reader feel really excited and interested. And later on next week, we're going to practice some of these skills on our road to help us write a really, really good story. But for today, we're going to keep going with magpieing some ideas. So today I'm going to show you a similar story, and we're going to think about the order today. So we are learning to sequence and retell a traditional tale. And I've written this story for you. You can see up the top I've put waggle, and that stands for what a good one looks like. So I've written the story for Why Giraffe Has a Long Neck, and I've tried to include all of those things on the road and make a really good piece of writing. So over the next couple of lessons, we're going to be looking to find these different things in the story. But for today, you can just enjoy listening to it and thinking about what happens in the story. You see, there was a time when Giraffe was short. Her horns were short, her legs were shorter, and her neck was the shortest of all. And she was also a fussy eater. She would often get a poorly tummy if she ate anything unusual. One day, she decided to try eating some juicy, fresh mangoes because they looked so delicious. Gently, she pulled one from the tree and carefully put it into her mouth. Suddenly, she started to feel poorly, and her tummy started to make strange noises. Why don't you try eating something else? Suggested Elephant kindly. Lettuce? Or grass? Said Hippo. Honey, that's what you need, said Lion. Go straight to the bees and ask them for some delicious honey. It does wonders for an upset stomach. So off went Giraffe to find the bees for some delicious honey. When she found them, the bees told Giraffe to help herself if she wanted some honey. It was inside a small hole in a large old tree. Free honey? What are you waiting for? Asked Chameleon. Put your head in that hole and get that honey right now. Push! Carefully, Giraffe squeezed her head into the hole in the tree and licked excitedly at the honey. Her tummy stopped rumbling. "Delicious," she said. Finally, when she had had enough, Giraffe went to pull her head out of the tree, but it was stuck. Chameleon went to get help and returned with the other animals the next day. "May I make a suggestion?" said Tortoise. "We could pull Giraffe out by her legs." The animals pulled hard. Then they pulled even harder. They pulled their hardest, but Giraffe wouldn't budge. A long time went by. Suddenly, Monkey had an idea. "I know. Why don't we pull the tree off Giraffe?" Monkey said. The animals pulled the tree hard. Then they pulled even harder. They pulled their hardest, but Giraffe wouldn't budge. Giraffe's neck began to stretch. "Stop! Stop!" cried Monkey. More days and nights went by. The tree grew tall. Then it grew taller. Then it grew to its tallest. Giraffe's neck was now long, and the tree had grown taller and taller. As the tree had grown taller and taller, it had stretched longer and longer. "Look how long Giraffe's neck has got now," said the animals. "It's the longest neck I've ever seen." "Giraffe, you've got to do this by yourself," said Chameleon. "Try pulling yourself out one more time." Giraffe pulled hard. Then she pulled even harder. Then she pulled the hardest she had ever pulled. Her head popped out of the tree. "Why are you all so far away?" asked Giraffe. "Because your neck has got so long," replied the animals. And that is why Giraffe has a long neck. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that story. Poor old Giraffe getting her head stuck in that hole for so long. So let me just remind you of the pictures that we've got, because they're going to help you today with ordering your story. We start off with Giraffe with her short neck, eating the mangoes. Not a good idea, it gives her a poorly tummy. So she goes to see the bees. There she is, putting her head into the hole to get the honey, but it gets stuck. Then we've got the picture of the tree growing taller and her neck growing with it. And then finally she's out, but her neck is so long, her head's right up in the trees. And you will recognise this Story Hill because we have ordered lots of stories this year on Story Hill, so this should be a really straightforward job for you today. Now there is a little bit more writing than we've had before. On your sheet, have I got it on here? No. Your sheet has got the Story Hill, and then on the next page there are lots of bits to cut out. You should end up with 5 pictures, 5 simple sentences of the main parts of the story, those are in blue, and then in black we've got the 5 different main things that happen in all the Tinga Tinga stories, not just this one. So I'm going to show you the order I think it's easiest to sort them in. So I think we need to first of all look at our Story Hill and remind ourselves that most stories fit this pattern of having an introduction, a build-up, a problem, a solution where the problem gets sorted out, and then an ending. And the build-up can sometimes be the longest part where lots of things happen leading up to the problem. So I think the first thing to do is to match these blue captions to these pictures. So I'm not going to do all of it for you, but I'm going to do one. So let's do Giraffe is short. There's my pen, there it is. So Giraffe is short. Which of these pictures matches Giraffe is short? Well, it's not that one, because she's got a long neck there. That looks like when she gets her head stuck. She's kind of short there, but that's going to be a different part of the story because that's when they're trying to pull her out. She's short in that one, and she's short in that one. So which one is it? Maybe I need to look at the other ones. Giraffe gets her head stuck, the animals try and pull Giraffe out, Giraffe finds a tree, Giraffe is short, Giraffe is tall. Well I think that must be Giraffe is short because I think that one is going to be for when she finds the tree. 2. I'm going to move 2. I said 1, but I've worked out 2. Can you match all of them up together? And then I think the next thing to do would be to work out the order that they go on the story hill. So I know that giraffe is short is going to go here. Giraffe is short, and then she finds the tree. That comes next. Can you order the rest on your story hill like that? And then your final job is, can you match up these parts? So I think if you pause the video there, have a go at your work, and then you can come and watch, and I'm going to go through all the answers at the end, just in case you get stuck. So good luck, off you go. Right, are you back because you finished your work? If you're having a sneaky look, go and try it out for yourself first. I only want you to be watching now if you've finished your sheet. Shall we check if you got them in the right place? So I'm going to match up the blue parts to the rest of my pictures. Giraffe is tall, that's easy, that goes with that picture. She's really tall there. The animals try and pull giraffe out is that one. And giraffe gets her head stuck is that one. So what happens next? So she gets her head stuck here. I'm just going to move that one over here out of the way a minute. Giraffe gets her head stuck. Then the solution is the animals try and pull giraffe out. And then the end of the story is giraffe is tall. So let's just check that on our story hill. Giraffe is short. Giraffe finds the tree. Giraffe gets her head stuck. The animals try and pull giraffe out. And giraffe is tall. And then we're going to match these black parts. So there is a problem. Oh, well, that one's easy because that's the problem, so that's going to go there. Meet the character. Describe what the character was like before. Well, that must go with giraffe is short. That's what she was like before. She was short. The animal has to go somewhere. So that goes here. She has to go and find the honey in the tree. The animals solve the problem, it's in the right place by accident. Look at that, right in the right place. And then finally, the end explains how the animal got their feature. So this is the pattern that most of the Tinker Tales fit into, not quite all of them. We start off meeting a character and describe what the character was like before. That animal has to go somewhere and do something, but then there's a problem, and the other animals help to solve the problem. And then the ending of the story shows how the animal got their feature. Now, I'm going to save this flip chart, and we will be coming back to this next week to help us plan our Tinker Tale, because we are going to use these parts to help us think what we need to write about elephant. So well done, everybody. Don't forget the challenge is to add time conjunctions. Did you have a go at that? Do you remember those words like first, next, finally? Could you add one to each of the blue sentences as an extra challenge? Don't forget to email your work in.